Now, a few tips from a programming standpoint. The one that stands out the most to me is
Get the fuck up. Simon says, get the fuck up. Throw your hands in the sky.
The question is programming or training tips for breaking a bench plateau. This could be a really long answer. So I'm going to try to break it down into usable tips instead of the programming, because there's so many variables associated with programming. Anytime there is a plateau in any lift, it's either going to be mental, physical, or technical. So let's remove the mental aspect of it and just address perhaps some technical things that could be corrected, that you could be doing wrong, that could make a difference. First thing would be, and these are in no specific order, I'm kind of going off the cuff here. So first thing would be, are you grabbing the bar and squeezing the bar hard enough? You know, tightness throughout the body in the bench press is going to be extremely important. Tightness is going to begin with your hands and with your feet. Actually, it's going to begin with your hands before anything else, because your hands are then going to allow you to be able to lock down and everything else. So are you grabbing the bar and trying to squeeze the shit out of the bar? Some people find it helpful to try to pull the bar apart. I was one of those people that had a profound effect on my bench by trying to pull the bar apart the whole time I was lowering and pressing the bar. Another tip that I think will help, actually I know will help based upon videos that I've seen, is don't allow your sternum and chest to collapse when you bring the bar down or when the bar hits your chest. I don't really want to say what I'm seeing is heaving. That's where you let the bar set on your chest and let it sink in and then heave the bar back out. I'm not really seeing a whole lot of that. What I'm seeing is the bar hit the chest, then a lack of tightness, and then the bar dipping a little bit and then coming back out again. That slight lack of tightness is killing the strength out of the bottom of the bench, because then you are essentially doing something very close to a dead press, which would be benching off of pins from the very bottom position. And you don't want to do that when you bench press. If you go back and look at your videos of you benching, more times than not, from what I've seen from people, you're going to see a little or a lot of that compression before the start of the bench press. So you want to remove that. You want to remove that by trying to, consciously think, keep your sternum high. Casey Williams had that problem, and we addressed it in one of our former videos. We addressed it with him by having him actually pull his air into his chest to be able to keep it high. Another tip, technical, is to make sure that your legs are tight. Regardless if your feet are out in front of you or if they're just right under your knees or tucked behind, I nor any other coach should be able to walk up and hit your knee or push your knee in or out. Your legs should be tight so they don't move anywhere, because you're driving your feet into the floor as hard as you can, which creates that brace and that drive from your feet through your torso into your shoulders or your shoulder blades and then up into the bar. Another mental cue is to think of pushing yourself away from the bar and not the bar away from you. So as you're pressing, try to push into the bench to get the bar to go up. Now, a few tips from a programming standpoint. The one that stands out the most to me is the deload. And I don't want to say that deloads suck, because they have their purpose. But they do, in a way, if they're not being implemented in the correct way. For example, if I'm doing your bench programming and it's going to ramp up for 3 weeks, then on the 4th week there's going to be a deload. And let's say we're going to go 60% week 1, 65% week 2, 70% week 3, and then we're going to drop down to 50% on week 4. Those percents are all based upon whatever your 1 rep max is, or however you want to do that. Let's convert those percents now into perceived exertion. So let's say instead of 60%, now we're working at a 6, a 6.5, and a 7. Then we're going to drop back down to a 5. From a mental standpoint, you're going to come into the gym and you know, okay, it's a 6. You're going to be geeked up, ready to train at that 6. You're going to come in at the 6.5. You're going to be a little bit more geeked up to train at that 6.5. You're going to come in at that 7, and you're going to be a little bit more ready for that 7 because it's going to be heavier and it's going to be a little bit higher effort. Now that 5, you're going to come in and you're going to geek down to a 5, which means you're not going to be in that same mental mindset as you were for the 6, the 6.5, or the 7. So when you deload down to that 5, but your mental effort and your attitude going in isn't still based upon what that 10 is, that 5 really isn't a 5. That 5 could actually be a 7 because you're going in, it's like, ah, shit, it's just a light day. It's only 50%. And then you do the first set and you're like, fuck, this feels heavy for only being 50%. Because on that day, at that time, in that session, it's not 50%. Because you mentally didn't go in with it being set and calibrated that way. That's one of the biggest problems I have with deloads, especially when it's coaches deloading for athletes. Because the athlete's going to come in and think, oh, light day. So they're going to fuck around. They're not going to take it as serious. And we all know when you're not taking it as serious and you're screwing around, that perceived effort is going to change. So it's going to be higher than the 5, and it's really not even going to be a deload. So if you're taking deloads and deload days, approach them just as seriously as you're going to approach any other days of your training. And that will help break the plateau. Because for you to go from a 6.5 to a 5 and then jump back up to a 6, that's a significant jump from that 5 to that 6. You know, it's a 10% jump, especially when that 5 really wasn't even that 5. So I think sometimes from a programming standpoint, that kind of gets people in a lot of hot water and pushes them behind a little bit more. Another aspect from the programming standpoint, which I just wrote about, if you're an advanced lifter, you need to learn how to back it down. And if you're a beginner, you need to learn how to train harder. Because the advanced lifter is going to be able to incorporate more muscle because they have better coordinational skills with the lifts than what a beginner does. So the advanced guy is going to wear out a lot faster than what the beginner is. The beginner actually needs more work. So if you're a beginner, it may help for you to do more sets than what you're currently already doing. From the mental, so that's addressing the mental standpoint, it's addressing the technical standpoint, and it's addressing a little bit of the programming standpoint. I hope something in there helps you out. There's a lot of other variables that can be associated with this. If you search elitefts.com, you're gonna find numerous articles on the bench press. So if I wasn't able to help you with this answer, please ask the next time we do a table talk with something a little bit more specific, or search the site and see what you can find there.